Hello and welcome. My name is Melissa. I am the owner and artist here at the Top Drawer RVA located in Richmond, Virginia. I'm also a Dixie Belle Brand Ambassador. And today, for this episode of Back to Basics, we're going to talk about a 4-letter word. Don't worry, it's not a bad word. It's a good word. The word is prep. We're going to cover all proper prep for painting your furniture today. Everything from the basics, from cleaning to repairing to what you need, what you don't need. Stay tuned and get ready to have some fun. We all know that I love to paint furniture. I'm sure you love it too, but there's a couple things that you need to do to prepare your furniture for paint. And if you don't take these extra steps before you just jump right in, open that can of paint and start painting, you might run into some problems. So today, we're going to cover what you need to do to prepare your piece for furniture paint. So I often shop auctions, yard sales, marketplace, all the places that you would find your fun furniture. And there's a couple of things that I think you should be on the lookout for. And there's a couple of things that you should be on the lookout for to not take home with you to paint your furniture, okay? So what do I look for when I am looking for a piece of furniture to paint? I usually look for something that's made of solid wood. If it's solid wood, then I know I can usually do the repairs, nothing major. I can work a power tool. But something that's an MDF or a particle board might not be worth your time for painting. In regards to repair, in regards to prep, all of these things are issues that we have to look for when we're looking for a piece of furniture to paint. So look for solid wood items. I personally prefer my wood to be unpainted. Stained is totally fine. In bad repair is totally fine. I can fix it. But if it's MDF and the water swells underneath the veneer, that's really almost impossible to fix. If it is a particle board piece of furniture, something that's falling apart that maybe had water absorbed into it, that's something I'm gonna pass for. It's not something that I really wanna take on as an artist. So I look for higher quality, solid wood, unpainted items. These are the things that I need to find. If you can find them with minor chips or dents or tiny things that need to be glued back together, or even all new hardware that needs to be put on, you can do this. It's not hard. Stay with me and I'm going to show you how. So with me here today on the floor, I have a beautiful Lane cedar chest. It's gorgeous, it has the original key, it's solid wood, slight repair needed, nothing that we can't handle. So what do I do when I first get a piece of furniture home from the auction? Well, I usually drag it inside because I paint inside my dining room. I don't have a she shed, well I do, but it's full of furniture and not air conditioned, so it's not where I'm gonna hang out and do my painting. So I'm gonna drag that piece of furniture inside and I'm gonna prep it for paint. First things first, you need to inspect your piece of furniture. Take all of the drawers out, open it up, turn it around, turn it upside down. Check it out thoroughly before you begin. Well, what are you looking for? You're looking for anything that needs to be glued back together. Say there's some loose trim or missing trim. If you need to, maybe take those drawers out, make sure they glide in and out easily. Look for any big chips or veneer issues that you might have to repair. Okay, so now you've taken it in the house, you have looked it over, and what's the next step? Well, for me, I first things first remove all of the hardware. I take the hardware off. I'm not a big fan of painting hardware. I'd rather paint the hardware separately. If I need to shine it up, I can spray paint it gold. I can clean it with white lightning. You can use the original hardware and put it back on the piece. But say you want to fill some holes and you don't want that original hardware anymore. What are you going to use? You're going to use Dixie Belle mud. So Dixie Belle mud is great for coming in and doing any small repairs. I'm gonna make sure that my trim is even, that my edges meet. If I need to fill any small nail holes or chipping veneer, Dixie Belle mud is gonna do that for me. Dixie Belle mud can be applied with a spatula or your finger. It comes in 3 different colors. It comes in white, brown, and black. Personally for me, I know I'm gonna be painting over this entire piece. It doesn't matter what color you use. If you're gonna be staining, say using a gel stain over top, you might wanna stick to a like-minded color. So, first things first, you've taken your piece inside, you've taken out all the drawers, you've inspected it. You can use your mud to fix those small holes any gaps where your pieces of wood don't meet, or any veneer issues. This is a great helper for your toolbox. Okay, so you've taken your drawers out, you've inspected it, you decided that you're gonna do a couple of repairs with Dixie Belle Mud. Well, what do you do first? Do you do mud or do you clean first? Personally, I clean first. Because the mud can be reactivated with water, I like to clean my entire piece inside and out. That means vacuum your drawers out, flip it upside down, get those stinky little cobwebs out from underneath, make sure that it's clean and pristine before you get started. So what do you use to clean your furniture? Well, there's two products that Dixie Belle makes for cleaners, okay? First of all is White Lightning. White Lightning is powder-based cleaner that you disperse into water to clean your furniture. You can disperse it into a bucket, you can disperse it into a spray mixing bottle, whatever you wish. I like to put mine into a white spray mixing bottle. I stir it up, I keep it on hand. That way I don't waste any extra if it's left over. I can reuse what I have. Dixie Belle also makes a new product called Silk Pristine Clean. This is basically the same as your White Lightning, but certain areas of Dixie Belle retailers only carry a silk product. So this is on hand for silk cleaning. This is on hand for chalk mineral painting. And I'm gonna tell you a little secret, it really doesn't matter. They're both gonna work in the same manner. They are just perfect for cleaning your furniture. So the directions on this product are 2 heaping teaspoons of this powder, and you can hear it shaking around, into a gallon of water. I like to use warm water in this spray misting bottle that I can get right in, spray the whole thing, and clean it. You can use a scrubby pad if you wish. You can use a rag. I just use paper towels so I can throw it in the garbage when I'm done. Now, after you're finished cleaning your product, you're gonna wanna take a quick minute to wipe it down with a wet rag or use a spray misting bottle filled with water to rinse off this White Lightning cleaner or the Pristine Clean. You don't want any of this residue left in your piece before you start to paint. Okay, so your piece is clean, you've come in, you've applied your Dixie Belle mud, and you're waiting for it to get dry. This does need to be 100% dry before you start to sand it back to smooth. It doesn't take too long, and if you really needed to, you could use a heat gun to speed the process. So while you're waiting for your Dixie Belle mud to get dry on any repairs that you've done to your project, there's another thing you can do. You can come in and add this amazing Big Mama's Butta to your piece. Have you heard about this stuff? It smells so good. I wish there was smell-o-vision right now because this smells like an orange grove. It comes in a different couple scents, but you can even get unscented if you wish. I like to take this and a small chip brush and apply it to anywhere where my wood glides meet. So if you have wood on wood glides that are sliding on top of each other, your wood might be dry, it might catch, your drawers might be a little tight. Using this Big Mama's Butter is gonna lubricate those areas and make it easy to open and close your drawers. You can also take this, I like to put it along the whole interior on the bottom of your piece so it smells super good. Because you know, sometimes these old pieces can be a little musty and crusty. So if you have a stinky piece, you can take it outside, clean it, and let the sunlight get at it because sunlight is an amazing deodorizer. You could also use your Big Mama's Butter to help mask any of those smells on the interior of your drawers or on your drawer glides. I do not recommend putting this where you're going to be putting your paint because this is a little bit oily and you don't want your paint to interfere with the butter or vice versa. So Big Mama's Butter to the rescue for anything stinky or smelly, but definitely for wood on wood drawer glides. All right, so what's next? Are you ready to start painting yet? Because there's a couple more things that you need to know. I like to sand scuff every single piece of furniture before I paint. This isn't something that is recommended or that you have to do, but for me, I like to do this as an extra step just to ensure that my paint is going to stick on really well, adhere well to the piece. So on the top of this chest, and I'm going to show you a little video right here in the corner, I did sand this top. Now, when I'm staining the top of a piece with no paint gel stain, and I want to sand my surface to help my paint or gel stain adhere, I am going to stay in the direction of the wood grain. I'm going to keep my movements pretty smooth and slick. I want to keep it in one direction because the stain is still going to come on and you don't want to dig in there and make circles or marks where you might see that through your stain. So my advice to you is if you are scuff sanding where you're going to be applying gel stain, use smooth, even motions in the direction of the wood grain before you apply your gel stain. If there's any powdery residue or anything left over after you've sanded, just wipe it back so you have a clean, smooth, dry surface before your gel stain. Now when I'm going to paint the base of a project and I'm going to scuff sand, I'm not as gentle because I really just want to give it some tooth to grab onto. You want to give that wood kind of like a little bit of a less slippery surface, okay? So you're going to take any medium grit or fine grit, whatever kind of grit you have, because I've kind of learned that it really doesn't matter. And I like to scuff it up in small circular motions. This gives the area a little bit of roughness and gives me the assurance that my paint is going to stick to the piece well. Okay, so now you're ready, right? You ready to jump right in and start painting? Maybe not so. There are a couple of instances where some other products might be needed before you paint. This piece could use a coat of Boss. What is Boss? Boss is your primer that's going to block odors, stains, anything that might bleed through the surface of your paint, okay? Boss comes in 3 colors: clear, white, and gray. This just happens to be the white in my hand, and I'm not going to be using it today, and I'm going to tell you why. This little chest could use a couple of coats of clear Boss if I felt like I was painting a lighter color. Because when I was cleaning it, you saw that kind of yellowy residue, you saw that color sticking on my paper towel. That's the stuff that sometimes is your clue. It's your clue that your piece might have some bleed. Anything that's like a redwood or a dark mahogany, even pine. All of these finishes have tannins inside of them, and these tannins in the wood bleed through your paint. Normally when you're applying your clear coat, your top coat to your project, which really stinks because by then you're already done all of your painting. You've already put all your hard work in, and then you have this horrible bleed through. So you could use Boss in any one of those 3 colors on this piece, but since the color I've chosen for this little chest is a dark green, and I plan to seal it with wax, most likely I'm not going to have any bleed through. If in doubt, do it. Do it. It's not hard to take a roller and apply a couple coats of Boss. It's going to protect your work that you're doing that day. It's going to take a few extra minutes to get done, and then when you're finished your project and you're sealing it with a clear coat, because that's the water, that's the stuff that usually pulls those tannins right back out, you're not going to be sad at the end of the day because you have properly prepped your product. So Boss in clear, Boss in gray, and Boss in white. You could apply clear to any project you're going to do, always, just to ensure that you're not going to have any problems with stains or bleed through. And at the end of the day, I find I actually use less paint when I prep with Boss. If I'm painting a pink or a red or a very light color, I would choose to use Boss in white or Boss in gray. Boss in gray is specifically made for those brightly pigmented colors that sometimes need extra help. The ones that are very kind of thin in their pigment, and when you're applying your paint, using those lighter colors of Boss underneath are going to help you use less chalk mineral paint or less silk paint, okay? So if I were to be painting Plum Crazy or Peony or Flamingo or even Tree Frog Green, I would use Boss in gray underneath those colors. If you ever need to wonder about what color and what Boss goes together, I like to think of it like if I'm going to be sanding back and making it a distressed look, I'm most likely going to use clear because you would see white or gray underneath your paint color. So use clear 9 times out of 10. It's going to do the job, and it's going to do the job well. You can do 1 or 2 coats depending on how bad that bleed might actually be. But the white works well, the gray works well, the clear works well. It's all personal preference or your color choice on your project. So what if your piece of furniture that you were going to be using to paint that day was a plasticized top? What if it had metal parts, or if it was really slick and shiny? What are you going to do then? Well, regular chalk mineral paint and regular silk paint are sometimes not going to stick to slick and shiny surfaces. There's another step in your prep that you might have to do to get ready for paint, and that is called slick stick. Slick stick is used very often at my house because I work inside my living room and I don't really want to sand a lot of the items. If any piece of furniture comes in to be painted and has a slick and shiny surface that I can't sand and give that good scuff sand to, Slick stick is what's going to be used. So how do you use slick stick? How do you apply it? I like to apply my slick stick with a foam roller that I then can throw away and dispose of. This is sticky, y'all. It says slick stick right on it. The lids sometimes get tight. If you use it on your good brushes and don't wash it out 100%, it can be a problem. And I also really don't want to be putting this down the drain. So I use either a chip brush that I can throw away or a foam roller with a nice smooth surface to apply my slick stick. I'm also going to apply 2 even coats of slick stick to my project, waiting 2 to 4 hours in between those coats for them to thoroughly dry. When you're finally done with your last coat of slick stick, you do need to wait 24 hours before you apply the paint. I know a lot of people want to skip that step. You want to hurry it up and get your project done, but it's very important to let your slick stick dry for 24 hours before paint. So I think that might be it for bringing it back to basics, prep style. I hope that I answered all of your questions, and I hope that you take a few extra minutes to do that proper prep for your project before you apply your paint. In the end, you're going to be quite happy that you did because it might just save the day. So remember, always clean with white lightning and rinse. Always assess your piece for any repairs that might be needed. Fix all those repairs before you start to paint. You don't want to start to paint and then realize you need to go back and stick mud somewhere. So check it well, clean it well, apply your mud to any repairs. Once that's all done, you can use your Big Mama's butter to make it smell like $1,000,000, and then you're going to decide what you need to do. You're going to make sure that you can use your slick stick if your piece is slick and shiny. If it's laminate wood, plastic, or metal, slick stick is going to be required in order for your paint to endure longevity on your piece. You can also check it and make sure that you don't need any boss. Is it a bleeder? Does it stink? Are you worried about anything that might be coming through the wood? Old marker or stains or anything that's on your wood that might pull through the paint? You're going to make sure to use Boss. If you're painting a brightly pigmented color, then you're going to want to use Boss in Gray. It's going to help you save the day, use less paint, and you will be prepared for when you're going to be painting your masterpiece. So that's it for me, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this Bringing It Back to Basics. I'll be back again soon, and you can learn more about a Dixie Belle paint product.